Hi everyone, today the video is on solving quadratics, all methods, solved by taking the square root. This method is incredibly straightforward. You just have to remember a few things. First and foremost, I want to talk about what perfect squares are. So perfect squares are numbers. When you take the square root, it gives you a whole number. Now the only reason I'm doing this is I had a couple people ask me. So 1 is a perfect square because 1 times 1 gives you 1. 4 is a perfect square. 2 times 2 gives you 4. 9, 3 times 3. 16, 4 times 4. 25, 5 times 5. And this would go on forever. Now you can still do these problems even if you don't have perfect squares. And we're just going to round to 2 spots after the decimal. So when you're doing these problems, you have to first isolate the x squared piece. Now the x squared is equal to 121. The x squared is all by itself, so you are ready to go. Now when we are doing these problems, to undo a square, you take the square root of both sides. And when you do that, this little 2 and the square root cancel each other out, and you are left with x. Now the square root of 121 is 11, because 11 times 11 gives you 121. But you have to remember, negative 11 times a negative 11 also gives you 121. So with the square roots, you're going to have the 2 answers. Moving on to the next problem, we want to isolate the x squared. So first thing we're going to do is add 15. Then we have 5x squared equals 15. Divide by 5. X squared equals 3. Now 3 is not a perfect square, no problem. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square and the square root cancel out. X equals square root of 3. Now we could leave it as square root of 3, but you'd have to put a positive and a negative in front of it. Let's just get a decimal approximation. So we are going to find the square root of 3 is 1.73. But remember, you need a positive answer and a negative answer. And sometimes you'll see it written like this, plus and minus 1.73. That means the same thing. All right, let's do one more example, and then you are ready to roll. I'm going to subtract 3. I have 2x squared equals 72. I'm going to divide by 2. X squared equals 36. I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and when I take the square root of 36, I get 6. 6 times 6 equals 36, but you need to remember, negative 6 times negative 6 also gives you 36. Now you may run across something where you're going to get something like this, where you have to take the square root of both sides, and you have a negative underneath. This is going to give us what we call an irrational number. So what you will write is not possible. You cannot take the square root of a negative number and get a rational number. All right, let us know if you need any help. Have a great day.